Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of No Paperwork Podcast, man. It's your boy Insane, Joe Bob in the building, Big Fats over there.
Yes, sir.
And today we got Mr. Tasty himself, Greg Raynoso, man. What's up with it, brother?
What's going on, man?
Hey,
How
man.
you doing?
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Heard a lot about you. You know what I mean? You do a whole bunch of different things, right? Let's get into your story real quick. First of all, tell me a little bit about yourself and your upbringing.
Tell the
Man.
best part. He met me,
Oh, dude.
and after that, it was all history.
We,
Okay, he
we,
can say it. He
we,
can say
we met in college.
Penn State.
Not there yet.
Okay, junior college.
Junior college. But dude, within the last 5 years, it has been kind of high ups and low lows, man. But I'm a chef. I've been cooking. But yeah, I got a crazy story for sure. It's been a movie, I guess you could say.
Yeah. So where are you from? What city?
So I'm from Oakley, California.
Oakley.
Okay.
Yeah, Oakley.
Not
All right,
too
so-
crazy.
Yeah.
So what was it like growing up in Oakley?
Dude, honestly, I don't know. I really didn't really see no different than, I grew up there, it was just a typical same thing, friends, family. I come from a really big family, you know what I'm saying? All close by.
All right.
So it was pretty decent. I guess a normal lifestyle, I guess.
Yeah. So did you get in a lot of trouble when you were young?
Man, I still get in trouble with that. Let's define trouble. But
Like,
yeah,
the trouble with the law. Shit like
yeah,
that.
you could say that, damn, yeah.
Yeah.
Out there running amok, I guess.
Yeah. And so growing up in Oakley and like how did it propel you to start cooking, or was it what influenced you to start with the whole chef thing?
Well, honestly, dude, I've always had the passion of cooking, my mom was always, she always cooked for us, and the thing I always remember is like, I grew up with the 4 brothers and a sister. And the thing with my mom was, she's straight Mexican, 100%, but she wasn't just that typical lady that just made Mexican food, like
Right.
she would literally cook Chinese food out of scratch, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, you know what I'm saying? Pizza, make it out the oven. So she just didn't cook Mexican food. And I was always,
Man.
I was always the one, like, always there, like, just checking my mom out, seeing what she was doing, giving a hand, when it came, we were very traditional, come Christmas, the tamales, you know what I'm saying? Every family party, everyone brought some, and I think that's where I kind of always had the heart for the food,
Yeah.
But really, what really got me, like, with the knife skills and learning how to, like, par food out and, like, doing things was, being incarcerated, man. Like, I was one of those individuals that, like, when you are in, prison, first thing they just, if you don't have your GED or high school diploma, you go straight into education, but if you do have your high school diploma or GED, you go straight into the workshops, welding, whatever that facility has, you know what I'm saying? That would kind of put you in those, to actually start working and making money. And for
Okay.
me, like, I jumped around from like welding classes and like wherever workshops, but like I've always tried to get into the kitchen, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So like, and I think that's where like I really learned like the little skills that I, had.
So in the kitchen, you get a little the extras, you get all your stuff, everybody bringing their stuff in. So were you the go-to guy for the homies? You know what I'm saying? Was everybody sliding you their issue so you could come back with the bags full of
Yeah, dude.
stir frying shit? And,
It's funny because like a lot of people thought, I was hustling because they always see my cell with hella food outside.
yeah,
But it wasn't because I was hustling, it was because I was cooking.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like there was always bags,
Yeah.
like canteen, always there,
yeah,
And believe it or not, like, my cell would always get searched to the point, like once I was already at that facility, like, the COs already knew, like, this is a cook, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? This is the guy that cooks, to the point where they would leave kind of the stuff, the
Not
6-pack
public, yeah.
cans, that we used
Yeah.
for the frying and like the over, the hot pots that are all rigged. They would leave them there, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like,
you talking about like after surgeries and shit?
yeah,
Oh, that's
got to the
cool,
point
yeah.
They were just like, this is a cook, bro,
Yeah,
you know what I'm
because
saying?
fools be hot,
Yeah,
bro.
and
They
not only
take-
that, I had the cheese, the bell peppers, you know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
I was just talking to one of my boys. Every year for Halloween, I would carve a bell pepper like
Like a pumpkin.
And I would always have it right there in the window, you know,
Yeah, that's
every year, you know what I'm saying? But
That's
like
tight.
they would even
Festive
they would
in
even
jail
look that
last
up.
night.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But like, you know, and that's the thing, like with the being in jail, man, a lot of people the homies specifically, not only that, like everyone, they knew that, you know, I didn't make spreads, bro. I made meals. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like I didn't make no spreads, bro. Like I made meals, you know, and that's the thing that kind of like elevated my, like, I guess you could say, cooking skills, because you're only limited to whatever resources that you
Right.
have in there, you know. And that's one thing of like being in the kitchen, you know. I'm out now, but like you were able to get like sugars, you know what I'm saying, butter, bell peppers, eggs, you know, like these little things that you can't really get on the canteen. And then me personally, you know, I would have all my catalogs and see like, okay, Golden State just came out with this new sauce, you know.
Right.
Hey, these little things, you know. And that's how I knew like the recipes already, like prime example, like I was known for making these crazy tamales, you know what I'm saying? Like
So how long were you in prison for?
I did 10 years.
You did 10
Straight.
years for some crazy shit too. I already know. And you don't have to talk about
Yeah.
that. But the case is over. You know, if you
Dude, I'm literally saying things, you know, that other people tell me, you know, is some people don't even do their own time,
Right.
you know. And that's the sad reality of things, you know. Anything you do, there's consequences, whether if it's good or bad, you know. And you know, we talking about this, but dude, I end up doing someone else's time, you know what I'm saying? And it sucked, but at the same time, you know, I did the whole 10 years, you know.
solid.
Had to, man.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. A lot of my family and friends, like, they didn't understand at the time, like, you know, 10 years, it's like, you know, why would you take that time? You know, you're innocent. Man, when you're actually fighting the case, for me, being in the county jail, you know, 10 years, yeah, if you were to tell me 10 years out, first I'm like, hell no, that's a lot. But once it's compared to
40,
20,
years,
30,
yeah.
40
Right.
life in prison. And at the time we were in there, you know, the DA had a 98%
Yeah.
conviction rate. I'm like, damn,
Fuck.
yeah.
We were both facing elbows.
Dude, like that. Snatch me up.
We're out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Less for that. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, at the end of the day, like, you know, I was doing my thing, you know, but yeah, that case was not mine, you know, but I understood, like, at the end of the day, you know, I was in no saint, I was in no angel, but I was raised, you know, in a good home, you know. I didn't come from a broken home that some people say. Like, I was raised in a decent home, but at the same time, I knew what I was doing.
Right.
You know, I knew at the end of the day, there's consequences to certain things, and at the time, it's like, whatever I'm in there, you know, it is what it is, you know. And the biggest thing for me was the unknown, bro. That's
Yeah.
like, not knowing, you know, constantly, you know. And I was in there fighting my case for what, 2.5 years,
Mhm.
you know. And that's the thing, people, I took the 10 years, but at the time was 145 to life. So for
Right.
2.5 years was, damn, that's what I'm looking at. Like, that's, you know, and constantly just moving in. Finally, we went to trial, you know, all this, you know, pretty much all that happened, and they offered me, you know, you could take the 10 years. And in my head, I'm like, fuck, dude, like, I already got 2.5 years down, you know, like,
Yeah.
dude,
85.
85, you
Yeah.
know, dude, I just would have another 7 years, like, dude, I'll bang this out, you know, I can
Yep.
do this,
Yeah.
like, you know, and I go home, you know.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, okay, the case is closed, it's all done with, so I'm like, you know, give me that 10. And there was more other things what kind of forced me to take the thing, you know. My mom at the time was fine, you know, to get her papers. They put a hold on her, like, and at the end of the day, you know, bro, I was innocent, you know.
Right.
But my mom was one of those people that are saying, like, yeah, my son, you know, I talked to him, whatever. And the way the system works is, if you are found guilty, now that person saying that now she's going to jail for lying.
Right.
You know, and I didn't want to risk, like, you know,
Right.
you can't
Yeah.
trust it. So that was the biggest thing for me. Like, and there was way other things that kind of like forced me, and like, dude, you know, at the end of the day, like, there's innocent people that, like, you know, I truly love. If I just take this, it's done with.
Right.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So I'm like, dude, whatever. You know, I took those 10 years. You know,
Well,
Bro,
that's a stand up move, man. We
Yeah.
appreciate you. All real motherfuckers
Like
appreciate you for sure.
a lot of people faced in that situation.
Yeah, would have turned
They
over.
would have folded.
Oh.
And they would have just been like, nah, I'm not doing that shit for nobody. So that speaks of your integrity and, you know what I mean, who you are as a person. It's just right there to take 10 years. Like, that's crazy. You ask any random person, like,
Right.
oh, if you know, you got, you know, charged with a crime you didn't commit, but you know who did it, or even if you didn't know, are you going to take that time? Most of them say, hell nah.
Absolutely.
You see it every day and you hear about it all the time. But for you to do that, like, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it's commendable.
Right.
And I think people like you yourself should be praised more than these 6ix9ine motherfuckers that come
Right.
out and do,
100%.
tell and do shit.
You're the
you know what I mean?
antithesis.
Even though they did do this shit, they went and told on the motherfuckers that were with them, or even cases that had nothing to do with them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Just to get out of their shit,
Right.
which, like you said, you're a grown man. Every man knows the choices of his actions. They know the consequences of their actions. And you either going to have integrity and deal with it on your own, or you're going to fucking fold and you, honestly be a little bitch.
Yeah.
But you having that, man, I want to commend you and I want to take my hat off to you, man, because that's some real solid shit.
You did that. You did 10 years solid. You know what I'm saying? A lot of my brothers spoke really good on you. And I told you when we first met, I first seen you rep, but since speaking of your first restaurant, we seen let's talk about once you got out, right? So he did it. He's solid motherfucker doing his time, right? Solid dude. Sorry about that, you guys. Solid motherfucker doing his time. But when you got out, bro, you are fucking like a beacon, right? Like what happened after you got out? Tell us about the sponsorship, the restaurant, the whole shit. Oh wait, first I want to ask you, what's the difference between cooking in the county? Do you start cooking in the county?
Yeah.
What's the difference between cooking in the county and cooking in the pen?
Honestly,
Kishkoff. My bad.
it's a lot better in the pen, bro.
For sure, yeah.
It's
what's the difference? Were you hooking it up in county too?
Dude, it don't matter. You throw me whatever you want, bro.
Yeah.
Whatever you have.
There's no fire, there's no fire,
but we make it happen.
Yeah.
It's edible. I make things that are edible. Motherfuckers be like, oh, I buzzed down the spread. Like, bro, some of that shit's like, damn, bro, you just wasted my souls.
Yeah.
100%.
And everything else that came with
everything, you know what I'm saying? But like, dude, the county was cool, you know. And one thing, like going back, you talking about the county, I think the county was a lot cool because at the end of the day, like that was like a sense of relief, you know what I'm saying? Like everyone's stressed out the game, you know?
Yep.
And I think that's ain't nothing gonna compare to a county spread because it wasn't even just the food as a fuck that we actually sitting here enjoying this little time, you know. And sometimes like, you know, in the pen, you can never go without if you got to hustle, bro. It don't matter how long you lock down. If you got to hustle, you're gonna be stocked up. The county, it don't matter. It's a drought. It's a drought. You know what I'm saying? Like you literally just all you got is a soup, and we spend this amongst 8 of us. Like, you know, like
in trays. You got
bro,
don't even wait. Just take a bite, pass it around.
That's really one of the difference between county jail and the pen. Like, the drought is a drought, man. In the county jail, like, you know.
Yeah.
But
okay, so you get out. What happened? You parlay your skill that you mastered in a pen. And
so the crazy thing with me was upon getting released, dude, I got released. You know, mind you, it's like I did 10 years. You know, I'm happy to come home.
Yeah,
dude, I come home and literally on my way home, like, you know, my family came pick me up on the way home. My mom and dad, you know, because we had one of those vans, the Sprinter vans my parents got.
Oh
We had like 14 of my family members that all came to pick me up.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Well, it was a set. They came to, for the last couple of years, I was supposed to get released. You know, mind you, my date it changed multiple times. I was supposed to get released on Friday. Like Friday, my family came to Solano to pick me up.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there waiting, like literally counselors, everyone, like I'm getting released. They're like, you know, I wake up the next morning, like, dude, I make it to the chow hall and I'm sick, you know, because when you get released, you don't make it to breakfast. You know what I'm saying? You're out before that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what the fuck? It's already breakfast time, bro. I started throwing up. So I'm sick, bro.
Yeah.
They didn't release me. And then I'm asking them, you know, like, hey, what's going on? We're like, we don't know. You got to hold. You got to hold. Bro, I'm freaking out, bro. Like, literally freaking the fuck out. And then, you know, in contact with my family. They're like, yeah, we're still waiting. Like, it still says you're supposed to get released, but they're not releasing you. I'm freaking out. Long story short, they held me until Sunday, bro, because that whole, you know, they end up, you know, serving me a little packet, bro, and kind of screwed that. And because of that, they can't release you on a weekend, and technically Friday and Saturday.
Oh, because of the packet?
They didn't tell me, bro.
Oh, so they were just trying to.
They did that intentionally. Just
right before you got out.
3 days. And mind you, I'm sick because not even the counselors know why they're holding me. And so with, you know,
that's crazy.
Everyone's like, bro, you got a new charge. And I'm free. I'm throwing up. Like my whole family literally.
Are you on parole? Are you going on parole?
Yeah, well, of course.
That's why. Yeah, that's
I
why
was
they
on
wanna
there.
do
You
it,
know,
yeah.
they have to put you on GPS and do all these things. And finally, on Sunday morning, they literally just tell me, because I'm calling every day trying to see what's up with the
Yeah,
council.
I would too.
And then finally Sunday morning, they just literally open my cell door, and I'm just like, they're like, "Hey, you're getting released." I'm like, "Oh hell yeah," you know. But one thing, just to pause that, you know, I'm like, damn, I'm coming home. First thing I did, you know, literally coming out the cell, you know, packing my stuff, dude. I literally, the CO was like, "Oh, we gotta move fast. We gotta move." I literally took the time, and the brothers know to stop at every brother's cell. You know what I'm saying?
So,
You know,
sick,
and there's one individual, man. Shout out, you know who you are. You know, both you guys know who you are. Dude, I stopped. It gives me chills to this day. You know, I stop at his cell, bro, and he already had his light. You know, I pull up to the cell door, and I'm thinking, all right, because it's dark, so I'm like, put my head in the window, and he's right there at the glass, like, "What's up, for?" He pops the light on. He's like, "Bro, I was waiting." He goes, "Every day I was looking out the window, and I'm like, they're gonna release him. They're gonna release him." He goes, "I was
That's
watching,
real
bro."
shit, yeah.
And he was literally, I'm like, "What the hell?" He turns up. He's like, "I'm standing right now." Them two brothers, man, I've never, like, I tell everyone, I've never met someone and two motherfuckers that were happier for me to get out. And mind you, these guys ain't coming out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bro, it just, I can't even explain it. Like, how are these individuals so happy that I'm going home? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the common uh, storyline for people in the pen is that, and it ain't never been like that with us, bro. But the common storyline is that people want to see you. They don't want to see you leave. They don't, right? But that's not the truth. Like lifers, the solid dudes, that man, I was happy as fuck anytime anybody left.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh man, get the fuck out of here, type shit. Don't come back either.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Absolutely. And like I said, we know that, but to witness it firsthand, like, dude, I'm just like, you know, it was crazy, bro. Like, you know, that to this day, that stuck with me. Like, damn, dude. Like, you know, they were just like, you know, Theo and my boy was just like, hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like, do your Dougie, bro. Like, we love you. And
Yeah.
bro, and he was just jumping love, like, you got this, bro. And I'm
I
like,
know.
damn, bro. You know, and they were the last cell because I knew I wanted to take a little time with them, you know what I'm saying? But they're like, bro, get out of here,
Yeah.
bro. Like, what you doing? Hurry up.
Yeah, I'd
He's
like-
hurry up before they lock the door.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I'm like,
Go,
damn, bro.
motherfucker,
I'm
yeah.
literally walking out like, but it's
Before they
something
change
just,
their mind.
just crazy, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like that is crazy, you know? And you know, fast forward now, you know, I get released, and what I'm telling you is, I get released, I'm in the car with my whole family, you know, finally, because they came again,
Yeah.
and they're like, yeah, you know, we're celebrating or whatever, but they're like, hey, COVID, you know,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm like, what the hell is a COVID? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the, you know,
Yeah.
what's this? You know, mind you, I'm coming home after 10 years, bro.
Right.
When did you release? What month?
The March.
Oh, so it just
COVID.
oh,
They
yeah.
announced COVID 2 days before I got released.
Yeah.
And it was barely getting kicked in effect, full throttle, like.
Yeah.
And then mind you, because I, you know, my whole family and everyone had like money for me, you know, the whole Dougie, you know what I'm saying? One thing like I said, I have a really great support, you know, not just my family, friends, and just like the local, bro, everyone, for some reason they like me, man, you know.
Yeah.
But like even then from the beginning,
That's not why.
you know.
No,
But no, you a likable dude, man.
Yeah,
You
you
a
know,
good dude,
I
so.
tried, but and I'm like, you know, we had money and everything, like, you know, I'm like ready to go shopping, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, but they're like, no, I don't think no stores are open, like it's COVID, right? So I'm like, not thinking of it. I still go home, like the whole family there, you know.
Everybody's wearing masks.
Dude, no one cared, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we're all there
We didn't care either.
celebrating, and then I remember waking up the next morning, bro, and first thing I'm like, dude, I don't got a toothbrush. Ain't no one think about that. I'm like, oh damn, I don't even got a toothbrush or deodorant. And then like everyone's like, oh damn, like no stores were open. I had to get my first tooth right there off of Main Street at the 7-Eleven.
Oh, yeah.
The 7-Eleven where I had to get my tooth because of COVID.
Yeah.
Literally, I couldn't buy no shoes, bro. No shoes,
Oh, that's
no
when I was
clothes.
down the street from the
Yeah, like, bro, literally a bunch of my friends and family had to bring, like, you know, clothes. Like, hey, look, I got size 9.5, 10s. Like,
That's
bro, we
crazy.
didn't shop. Shout out
didn't
to
bring
Costco.
you
because
left all your prison
that's where I got majority of my clothes from.
You left all your prison stuff on
Yeah,
real.
I needed, you know, they say leave the stuff here because they need it more than you. Not,
okay.
bro. You know what I'm saying?
At the time, yeah.
I needed it more than they did, bro. Like, literally, COVID kind of threw everything off. and that goes to like,
So you weren't even getting released back to the world that you remembered.
No,
It was a whole new world. It was a whole new world for all of us,
dude,
honestly.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Or being incarcerated 36 hours before that,
And
bro,
then
to not being able
now-
to toothbrush.
right.
Now
You're
within-
incarcerated again.
within the whole business aspect of it was like, I had people telling me like, man, you got the balls, you got the courage of starting your own business and going doing that. I was really just honest, like, bro, I had no choice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it was new to everyone, even the parole office, because you're validated or whatever these things, you have these certain things that you have to abide by, and part of it was you have to find a job with a certain amount of time, or if not, you get in trouble technically, you know what I'm saying? And mind you, bro, I've applied to Taco Bell, Jack in the Box, and they're laying people off. And
Yeah.
COVID and all of that, I'm a felon. Like,
Yeah.
dude, I couldn't. And then, I found little jobs from like friends that hired me. My godfather, hired me. And then the biggest thing was for him. Like, I'm like, damn, like, fuck. And then finally, my Nino's like, hey, man, if you can't find a job, create one. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, really thinking about it. It was just figure out what you know what to do. And at the time, because this whole COVID stuff, now it's like 2 months into it, then like 3 months into it. I heard of people doing ghost kitchens where they were just selling out the house. Like that's what it was called. Like they would just create an
I never heard of that. Okay.
Yeah, they would just create an Instagram and say like, hey, I'm selling this, like
Mhm.
who wants to buy it? So
A
I'm
lot
like,
of those pop-up cooks came up out through COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like
And so-
I think Bossellini,
Wow.
a couple real good ones I know too.
bro, yeah. And that's where I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I could do that. Like, I get down, and then like, again, bro, I had an amazing support group, my friends and family that literally just supported, dude. And
You're
I had
welcome.
bro, it was nuts. So I, started my first page, Taste's Kitchen. And I named it Taste's Kitchen because like, I get down in anything, but it's just like, I didn't want to specify and just like barbecue or whatever. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going to name it Taste's Kitchen because I want you to taste whatever
Whatever's coming out this kitchen.
whatever
Right.
comes out, you know what I'm saying? Whatever I
Yeah.
make. And at the time, they had just opened the Chick-fil-A. And, I was talking to one of my boys, Jordy, and he was just like, bro, I'm like, what can I cook to sell? So everyone's on this like chicken sandwich hype.
Okay.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
chicken sandwich.
And I'm
that
like,
shit's
oh
fire.
yeah, let me just make.
chicken
Let me
sandwich.
let me just make it.
Coleslaw.
And like I said, shout out to my boy Jordy because we sat there. I spent $700. You know what I'm saying? On just hella random like YouTube, and we literally tried different recipes, and we finally came out. To this day, I still have it. We came out with
Fire.
this certain way of making it, bro. And then that's what I started pushing, and that's literally how it started, bro.
What was it
You know?
called?
That makes
On the
me
menu,
hungry.
something bird.
The Jaybird.
The Jaybird.
Yeah, 'cause my boy, my boy, and my boy Jordy. You know what I'm saying? The Jaybird. It's a
Yeah.
chicken and it's Jordy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a Jaybird.
Yeah.
So
So what did that that Instagram, right? That's really what it was, right?
dude, yeah. So that
Turned into something.
dude,
right?
and like I said, it just like I was just told my boy on our drive here, I'm like, dude, I just do what life throws, bro, and if it's meant to be, bro, it's meant to be, bro. You know what I'm saying? And like literally everything was falling in. Now fast forward, like prior to that, that was doing really well, and again, it was doing good. Like my neighborhood was supporting, family, friends were supporting, and people were just buying, and like for me, it was working really good, and it's crazy because the Jaybird. So I'm like, dude, let me figure out what else I could sell. So I started doing other things, you know what I'm saying, making like shrimp broils and doing all the little things. And now I'm like, dude, I kind of want to elevate this, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And my whole goal was like, let's make this legit, like what are the things? Because the other thing too is like being on parole, like even though you're making money, that doesn't qualify for it being a job. You have to legitimize it. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
W-2s and
So, my girl is just
Thanks,
like,
love.
let's do this. This is what we got to do. Boom, boom. So she's, she started doing all like the things like, okay, get the LLC, get the food handlers, get all these things. And we started acquiring all that. And then my goal was like, let's get a food trailer. You know what I'm saying? I had one of my boys help me out with that. And like I said, it was an overall like a group effort. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone helped me out. The only thing is I just had the idea, you know what I'm saying? And then, I was putting in the work. But like I said, a bunch of family, friends did all that. And now fast forward like 6 months into that, got my first food trailer, you know what I'm saying? And again, I didn't have the luxury of buying a brand new food trailer. Like it was really just a box, and then just buying a fryer. Had one of my boys that did the electrical, and another boy that did the plumbing. My dad helped and my brother helped, so everyone was building this trailer. And then it all started with doing a pop-up. One of a good friend of mine was starting his business, you know what I'm saying? Um, shout out to Purpose Built, you know what I'm saying? From a friend to a friend was like, hey, he's gonna do his store right here in Oakley. You know, you think your food trailer is gonna be done by then? Like, you should do a pop-up there. You know what I'm saying? That would be hella cool. Let me put this. So my boy Burton was like, let me put this together and see if we can make it happen. Reached out to his friend. He goes, hell yeah, if he's, you know, and to this day they still support all businesses and whatever. And he's just like, yeah, if he could have this food trailer done, like have them pop up, you know, that would be cool. So on his grand opening, we hustled literally that night. We had it done, and that night as we're doing everything that morning, it's like 4 in the morning. They're like, the food trailer is gonna be ready. I'm like, all right, I gotta go to the store, and I had to go buy everything for that pop up right then and there. You know what I'm saying?
At 4 in the morning,
Bro, literally, fucking, we went to the store to buy all this stuff for this pop up at this grand opening. You know what I'm saying? Did the grand opening, and that was like the turning point. You know, because of that grand opening, you know, a bunch of people came, supported, posting it, and all these things, and end up turning that whole thing turned up to one of my cousins having this whole thing and like talking about that, and it landed into some girl's eyes, and she was a scout for like commercials,
right?
you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, pretty much said like, hey, look, this is my primo, you know, he did 10 years. He's only been out at the time, 9 months. For after 10 years, 9 months of being out, you know, he just started this business. He's doing really well. He just did his first little thing in his trailer, and that scout liked it. She goes, hey, you know, is this guy legit? And she goes, yeah, give me his phone number. And I remember that I don't know when that took place, but I remember at nighttime, like this all happened. Well, at nighttime, I remember getting a call. It was like 11 o'clock. You know, I just had a baby, you know, my girl's sitting there, and I get a phone call, you know, and it's like 11 o'clock. I see my phone, I pick it up, and the first thing was like, hey, is this Greg Raynoso? I'm like, yeah. Like, how would you like to be on a commercial? I hung up. Because I was one of the guys that fell victim. Like, you know, they had called me about like this, hey, you have to pay this, you know, for this insurance. I'm like, oh shit. I'm telling my girl, like, hey, you know, I gotta pay this money. She goes, no, that's fraud. People doing that for fraud. And I'm like, oh. So I thought that was that, you know what I'm saying? So they called me, so I'm like, stupid, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's crazy.
I did.
You flip phone, bro.
Yeah, I did.
Hey, bro, he was locked up for 10 years, bro. Give him a break.
I still had the razor, you know what I'm saying? I had the razor, but dude, you know, I hung up, and I remember my girl's like, "Who is that?" I'm like, they asked if I wanted to be on a commercial. Like, what the hell, bro? They end up calling me back, and to this day, I remember it said Hollywood Productions, Bluebird. You know, I'm like, I pick it up. You know, and I'm like, hello. I'm like, hello. And they're like, hey, this isn't fake. Like, this is real. Do you have an email? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, all right, pull it out. You know, we pulled out the laptop, you know, and they're like, all right, it's going to pop up. Just wait. So they're waiting. And then sure enough, damn, this is legit, you know? And I'm like, she told me, you know, we move fast, you know, Hollywood moves really fast, but we want your story. We heard about it. And that's when they're telling me, they didn't tell me too much because they wanted to wait until everything's done. And then long story short, dude, I end up, you know, being on end up playing on the NBA finals, you know what I'm saying? But, Ruffles had a campaign called Own Your Ridges campaign, where pretty much they find people that went through certain things and overcame this. Right. And at the time, she was saying they were already recording for this, you know, but then they end up hearing about my story about someone that did 10 years, that built a business, you know, within the first year of being out. Mind you, now we're at like 9 months, 10 months, you know what I'm saying? And they're like, dude, we want your story. And she goes, if this checks out, like, we'll get you in there within the next month. And then they asked me, she goes, all we need from you is like, have, you know, someone record a quick, you know, 30-second video, just your name, how much time you did, and then like what you do now. So literally just, you know, I did that original video, like, hey, you know, my name's Greg Raynoso, like, you know, I was incarcerated 10 years. I came out, you know, to the peak of COVID, and, you know, this is what I do now, you know. And that's, you know, they end up flying me within bro, I think within the next like 4 days. And it was so crazy because, I was validated and I had a GPS, an ankle monitor. And through these things, the conditions were I couldn't leave 50 miles from my residence, right? And then I couldn't be out past 10 o'clock. Well, I remember calling my parole officers after I got this whole thing, like, hey, we want you. You're flying out this day. And I'm telling her, like, wait, I can't do that. Like, I'm on parole. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then she goes, well, what does that mean? I'm like, dude, I'm on parole. And I remember the lady's like, damn, this is legit. We're going to email you a letter and send this to your parole office. And they have any questions, tell them, whatever. I remember calling my parole officer, that following day, like, hey, they're asking me to be part of this commercial. Like, and they're like, she's like, what? I'm like, well, can I go? And they're like, well, and they're tripping out. They're like, we'll send, I'll come pick up this letter you're talking about. She did not believe me. She was like, "There's no fucking way," and it was so crazy.
Come up with a better lie.
Yeah, it was so
just
crazy.
To go kick it with your homies.
It was so crazy because, like, mind you, I got a whole GPS. Motherfucker got to be charged and shit. And they're just like, "Damn!" They're like, "We can't." Like, they couldn't do nothing about it. They're like, because now that's hindering my advancement. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And at the end of the day, the whole part of this campaign was, you know what I'm saying,
overcoming
the obstacle and these things. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
they are the obstacle,
bro. Literally, we're like, bro, we gotta let you go. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is Hollywood. This is a letter from Hollywood, like a full production. You know what I'm saying? And it was so crazy. They're like, well, yeah, like, and then they're telling me, like, you still have to charge, if you run all the brother, they're telling me all these things. And I remember calling the producer again, like, and I'm telling the lady, because now they gave me an agent that I call her, and I'm like, yeah, they said whatever. And then she's like, damn, like, you hear, like, hey, it's a real deal. Like, this motherfucker really on, like, you know what I'm saying? And to the point where I get to Hollywood, like, they're doing all these things, and I'm like tripping out, like, damn, this is like surreal, bro. Like, I didn't know how big it was, you know what I'm saying? And even till now, like, get there, and then the lady's like, well, there's this whole little thing that you're going, this day we're doing this day they're doing this, but they're like, we have to change that because usually Hollywood has like access to the county jails, to like certain prisons to do recordings and stuff. They're like, they won't allow you to go into the facilities because you're still on parole. So they had to produce that whole thing. Like, on the commercial, it shows me being in a jail cell. And usually they go to LA County and they have a whole thing where they record that when they go in the prison. But for me, they had to recreate that whole thing. They're like, shit. We can't get you in there, so we have to create this whole thing. So Hollywood moves. They had to recreate the whole fucking scene just to have me for that 2-second clip of me being in jail.
Nice.
Damn,
like
that's
great. Like, it was crazy. Like, it was really humbling. Like, it was like, and then the whole thing came out. And mind you, like, I wasn't supposed to talk about it at the time. So it's like, like, damn, let's continue doing what I gotta do, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of people ask me, like, what that commercial did for me. Like, at the end of the day, it did a lot. But for me, like, I think we've had this conversation. For me, what that did was coming home, like, mind you, the family and friends, like, love me, like, all this, but, like, what actually society knew me, like, and they're not wrong for it. Like, oh, that's that kid that just got out of prison. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Oakley's small, and
Yeah.
it's just like, I felt like that was always on me. You know what I'm saying? Certain things, didn't get a job, whatever, like, whatever. And, like, there's a bunch of little stories hearing about, like, oh, that's that kid that just did 10 years. And, like, at the end of the day, they go by what they know and what they think they know. You know what I'm saying? And what that commercial did for me was allow me to be who I am. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, let me be who, and it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was that guy that was in prison and did these 10 years, but now it's like, okay, I did this commercial, and now it's like, hey, man, that's that guy that, that did, man,
overcame this adversity.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the thing for me. It's like, dude, I never shun away from where I came from. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like, my whole 20s were spent incarcerated.
Yeah.
I was raised by and groomed by some of the best guys, and how he said, like, these people say whatever, but these individuals, are educated in the sense of just what they had and what was lost, and at the end of the day, like, I think that's what they seen, like, this, he's a young kid, and a lot of people knew the truth, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they literally took, don't get me wrong, like, it was tough, regardless, prison is prison, but at the same time, like, I think that's why they were just like, let's let's make sure, let's educate this individual, and like I did, dude, I barely knew how to read in that motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I advanced that, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's why I have a good head on my shoulder, because again, dude, my whole 20s were spent in prison.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I went in 19, 18, came out 29, turned 30.
Yes.
Damn.
So
You know
you
what I'm saying?
get the Ruffles thing. How did that what happened? Because you ended up with a restaurant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did that go?
So get this whole Ruffles thing, and my whole thing is like, let's continue moving. Like, what can we do? And they did pay me for this, so it's like, how can I, what can I do with that to kind of grow that? You know what I'm saying? And for me, like even from the beginning of business, I had a lot of friends that would tell me just do cash, do cash. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, I wanted growth, and I
Right.
know you can't get growth because now I'm learning like banking, credit.
Right.
How to get a license. You know what I'm saying? Like I was backed up. Even the banks were kind of like, dude, you're 30 years old. You don't got a bank account. Like, yeah, I had no credit. I tried to get a car. They couldn't let me because they said even bad credit is better than no. You got
Right.
no credit.
Yeah.
There's nothing. You're 30 years old. This is kind of weird,
Yeah.
And I had to sit there and explain it. Well, I was in prison. You know what I'm saying? But even then, they're just like, okay, well, we're gonna give you credit. No, it's like, so that kind of like woke me up in the sense of like, damn, okay, now I gotta figure this out. And I'm like, dude, cash don't give me that backing, that history of
Yeah.
like this is what you're making,
It doesn't
to get a loan.
legitimize you
It
as
doesn't.
much.
So that's why I'm like, dude, my goal was like I want to start getting credit cards because
Right.
now I could get a record of this is what he's making, this is what he's producing, like possibly get a loan and all these things. So within saying that, run the food trailer, and then now I had some money coming from this whole commercial. Met with a good friend of mine. They're like, let's do the next step, and I end up opening a restaurant within that year and a half that I was out, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like I said, we did, which was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, I just did 10 years, was only out like a year and a half. Opened my first restaurant. It was hard. Restaurant business is difficult, but at the end of the day,
I owned one. I
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it's like, I have friends that, call me randomly like, hey, I want to do a food business and all these things. I tell them from the beginning, if you don't have the passion for it, you're not going to make it, because that passion is what's going to get you through that next day. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying? Like,
And it's an everyday thing, 16 hours a day.
absolutely,
Like
dude.
every day. There's no days off, especially
at
if
all.
you doing it yourself.
At all.
I know I owned a restaurant out in Vegas for a little while, and I was like, never again.
Yeah.
Never again.
Never again.
I sold it, and I was like,
Dude,
never again in the food business.
and again, like I enjoyed it, but then it was just like crazy, and we end up getting rid of it. And like I kind of chilled back a little bit, but then I'm doing it again, but now I do meal prepping, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm still in the food industry, still doing that. But I think the meal prepping is the way to go, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's, and I'm still cooking, but like that's where the whole name Mr. Tasty came from, because in Hollywood, from being in there,
Yeah.
Tasty's Kitchen there, that's where they call me. Oh, so you're the official Mr. Tasty, and so that's where that nickname came from. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's been good, dude.
That's
like,
a dope, inspiring story.
Yeah, like
bro.
I said.
that's
And his
crazy.
restaurant wasn't just no like that motherfucker was dope, bro.
yeah,
Oh yeah, it was nice.
It was
Yeah.
dope.
Damn, I wish you would have still had it.
dude. Honestly,
And the
man,
location was dope.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
cool.
The
And,
location was peasy.
and the thing I liked about it too is that's where I met a lot of the brothers, a lot of like friends and friends. And the thing, like to this day, I always talk about is like some of the people I was incarcerated with, right, told their family and friends to go there, and that's how I was introduced to these individuals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're incarcerated with, with my cousin. Oh, so and so. I'm like, yeah. Well, he had told me like, the brother, hey man, and not even just a homie, just other group segments. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
dude, they would just pop up out of nowhere. Hey man, you were incarcerated with my cousin. I'm like, what the hell? Like, damn, that's pretty cool. You know,
Yeah, that's tight.
people were literally coming like, damn, that's tight. And to this day, I still get calls like, because in prison they play the stuff like from back in the day, still repeating in there. To this day, I still get a call or whatever, like, hey, motherfucker, like I just seen you in this thing, like,
Yeah.
and it's funny. I got one of my boys, man. He's like, he calls me. He's like, hey, bro, I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm sitting on my bunk and I'm eating a spread, and I see your commercial pop up, and in my head, and mind you, I hadn't talked to this dude in a couple years, and just randomly reaches out to me. He's like, I'm sitting there eating this spread, and I see you, I'm like, and then I see that stupid ass mole, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, damn,
Wow, yeah, getting on you.
it's you,
Yeah.
bro. I'm like, man, you know what I'm saying? That's hella funny. Like, he goes, I seen that stupid ass mole, man. I'm like, this motherfucker, fuck you. He goes, I knew that was you, bro. That's crazy. And like I said, but just not, not even just homies, just all group segments,
Right.
showing love. Like, damn, that's what's up, And at the end of the day, like, it's humbling too, hearing it from other people. Because, like I said, at the time when they're doing it all, it's just kind of like, okay, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? And at the end of the day, like I've been asked to do multiple podcasts, but like for me, I don't look at that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
to sit here and just like, oh, this is what I do. This is what, because I feel like my book is still going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like it's kind of hard to be like, this. I feel like that's when I'm already like in the peak of it. But like,
But
at
your
the end of the day,
story is crazy, right?
Inspiring,
And
yeah.
and for you to do 10 years, right? And for something that you didn't do, right? And to come out like, I believe everything happens for a reason. And you wouldn't be who you were today if you didn't do those 10 years. You wouldn't have had the opportunities
absolutely,
if
yeah,
you didn't do them 10 years. So everything was supposed to, and there it goes again to your integrity, to who you were, for being a stand-up dude, and valuing your values and morals. You it's what got you to who you make you
Right.
who you are, got you where you are
absolutely.
today, dude. And that's a testament to your story.
Right,
So
but
Thank you.
it hasn't always been uphill. Like you got in a you want to tell us about the motorcycle accident?
Man, I'm still going through it with that. So like, I got a little pimp walk. That's not, I'm not bringing pimping back. That's so recently, like about like 16 weeks ago, dude, I was literally on my way to church, believe it or not, and I'm on my bike, and this dude hits me, boom, and dude, I was ejected off my bike, and bro, they said I was launched like at least 60 to 70 feet. Mind
oh
you, I'm
shit.
I'm on the highway for, I'm going like 60, 70 miles,
Yeah.
So I was ejected off my bike. My ankle literally came off, like my bones literally came. I remember getting up, and I'm like, believe it or not, this is what the doctor said. They said if it wasn't for your muscle mass, like it could have been worse. You know what I'm saying? But like, I was hit, tumbling. I remember trying to get up, and bro, I see the bottom of my shoe, bro. Like legit, my foot is like this. And I remember like, oh shit, like bro, I see my bone sticking out. I ain't gonna lie, I took a picture. Like,
Yeah, you sent it to me.
I'm like,
Oh,
even the doctor's
sick.
like, I heard you took a picture of your foot. I'm like,
I didn't
yeah,
want to
because I'm
see it.
like,
Yeah.
In the moment.
in my head, I'm like,
That's
I lost
crazy.
my leg.
Dude,
Like my leg.
your adrenaline must have been pumping like a
Oh, it was.
motherfucker.
I'm just like, I lost my leg. I tried to call my girl. She didn't pick up because it was early in the morning. And I called my boys, and my first reaction, like, I call them. And I'm like, come pick up my bike, bro. I just got hit. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm like, they're gonna impound my shit. Like, I'm like, come pick up. He's like, what? You just got? I just got hit, bro. Like, come pick up my bike. That's all I'm worried about. Like, come get my bike.
Yeah.
Because the bike didn't really take no damage. I did.
Right.
But like, dude, I was ejected. But I'm like, look, I see the bottom of my J's. Like, this is crazy. Dude, I ended up getting rushed to the hospital. I was in the trauma center for like 3 months, I think. They end up telling me like, hey, look, we got your leg back there, but we don't know if it's gonna take. There's still a possibility that we might still have to amputate your leg, due to infection. We try to clean it as much as we can. We attached it, and they had like pins and stuff in my leg, like like all the doctors are just like, it's unbelievable, like you have no head trauma. You know what I'm saying? And it was crazy. One of the doctors told me that day that I got in the accident, there was 5 other Harley accidents, and 2 of them passed, and the other 2 are paralyzed. And they said you're the only one that would possibly be able to walk again. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? But they're like, yeah, we might need it, but they're like, but we think, we have an amazing doctor that kind of puts your stuff together. So I'm like thinking whatever, and like, dude, I've already been through I think 6 surgeries, 6 different surgeries for my leg, and I'm still do a surgery, you gotta let it heal, then do another one, and then like my bones were rejecting my hardware, so I had to go do another one. And that whole Steve Will Do It show.
Yep.
I had just got finished for a surgery, and they asked to do the show, and they told me that Thursday and confirmed it Friday, and I had surgery that I waited for like a couple months that Monday, bro. So I literally had to put that surgery aside because I'm like, dude, I gotta go do the show. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's
Yeah.
another opportunity. But like, that dude is, I still walk with a little limp. I'm barely, coming back. I've always been a fit individual, but like, dude, literally, like I said, I had high highs and like low lows. Like thank God I'm still alive. And at the end of the day, like I walk with a little limp right now, but I'll take that because it's with my legs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like and like I said, it's still going through pain a lot. You know, I'm still in the process of still building that. But like I said, it was dark, bro. And you know, the biggest thing for me, like I said, I've always been fit. You know, and it's hard because, like I said, you know, I gotta do a surgery, and then it's like, okay, I still got that drive. Like, you know what? I'll be able to get back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
they do that surgery, and it's like, okay, now I'm back in a wheelchair. Now I gotta relearn how to walk again. It's like, okay, I got that drive. You know, I'm back. You know, boom. And then it's like, oh, you gotta do another surgery. Mind you, you gotta take time. No, you know, you can't have no weight. You know, you can't do this back in a cane or a crutch, then wheelchair. It's like, okay, build yourself back. And then my recent last one, dude, I gained so much weight, you know, because it's like, dude, I kind of like gave up. Like, dude, there's no way. They're like, dude, this, you know, I
Yeah.
was in so much pain, I couldn't
Yeah.
walk, like, and I kind of like let my body go, and I'm just like, dude, fuck this, like, I'm kind of done, bro. Like, you know, and a lot of my friends, you know, um, kind of like still help me out. Like, you're good, but like for me, it was a point like, like I knew I could do push-ups. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like I knew it. Like, bro, I could do some crazy push-ups. You know, I could do hella push-ups. And it's like in my head, I knew that, I felt that, but then when I went, I couldn't even do one, bro.
Yeah.
You know, and that defeats you. And like I said, I've been through some shit, but like when that I think was kind of like the hardest thing for me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, I ended up gaining weight. You know, and like it was kind of hard too because I have hella family and friends. And it's like I would get that phone call because one thing for me, like if I think about you, I call you, which I know you know,
Yeah.
like if you pop in my head, I literally pick up the
Boom.
phone and call.
Yeah.
What's up, Fly? Yeah, we were just thinking about you. Like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Like, and
We
all
have some
my
good
homies know that,
conversations
you know what I'm saying?
too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's one thing for me. Like, I always try to call someone that I haven't talked to in a while, you know?
Yeah.
And dude, I wasn't really doing that, but like because of that, people will still call me, and I'll still kind of like fake the funk, you know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
sometimes they'll call me just talking about their problems, and it's just like me being like I'm in a dark ass place, but I'll still, you know,
Yeah.
kind of like do that. And then like my friends were actually that knew was just like, damn, you know, and I kind of released that to the point where it's like it was kind of hard, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I'm still going through the whole recovery phase, but like, you know, not you know, peptides kind of got me going through a lot of, you know, it's man, like that's a whole other conversation. But
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
because of that, that's why I'm able to walk. You know what I'm saying? I
Okay.
have no cartilage in my leg; it's just bone on bone.
Oh shit.
Damn.
Like you know, I still wake up. I think you know when you wake up to go to the restroom, like that first walk for me, it's like whoo, damn, bro. Like it's a fight. But like I said, I wake up with pain every fucking morning of my day, if need be, because I'm walking on my legs and I'm here, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, and I think that was like I said, it was high highs and like some low fucking lows,
Yeah.
man. And that whole thing with that Steve will do it. So
Tell us about that. Yeah.
yeah, I jump on this I get tagged. It's crazy because I remember, you know, I get tagged and my phone just blew up. It's like blew up, you know. My shout out to my boy Jose. He was the first one that sent it to me. Not only sent it to me, called me. You know what I'm saying?
And this is an Instagram post that they have put out.
Yeah. So my boy Jose was a first. Well, hella people like were just blowing my phone up, but I didn't really pay attention to it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But my boy Jose, man, my brother, not only sent it to me, but he calls me. He's like, "Hey, fool, you gotta try it, bro. Like, you got." I'm like, "What the hell?" He's like, "You know who Steve will do it?" I'm like, kind of knew who he was, but not really.
Uh-huh.
But he's like, "Dude, I always watch his stuff," and he posted this thing. You gotta apply for it, bro. And I'm like, all right, you know, I had a little conversation with, and I'm seeing everyone's tagging me on this post, right? And it was this thing where it's like a Convict Kitchen, where it's like Steve will do it. He's like, really know he's a good dude, bro. Like,
Yeah.
he looks out for a bunch of people and he does crazy shit, and he came out with his own version of like Hell's Kitchen, but with people that were incarcerated.
Yeah.
And he talks about that. He goes, one thing I believe is like people who are incarcerated are some of the smartest people.
Get
And
real
for the
shit.
reason is, they can get really creative with what they have, So he's like, so this is my twist of Hell's Kitchen, Convict Kitchen. I'm gonna try to find people that were incarcerated and put them through this whole little thing and to compete with this money thing. You know what I'm saying? I want my run back. So, but anyway, so like I do this. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try this. So, I told my girl, like, record me, dude. Like, and we did this whole little thing, bro, put it out there. And, like, again, you're not supposed to talk about it. They hit me up right away. Like, hey, we seen it. And they're like, dude, you've been favored. You've been tagged the most. A bunch of people were just tagging them, blowing them
That's
up.
dope.
You know what I'm saying? And they see my video. And I'm like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, they're actually. So that was hard to keep a secret. So I'm like, what the fuck, And then I didn't hear back from them. But that week, like within a week, mind you, I'm scheduled to go to surgery on Monday, bro. Like, they reach out to me on a Thursday. And they're like, yeah, we need you to come out here on Tuesday. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm telling my girl, like, it's Friday now. I'm like, fuck, like, dude, do I cancel my fucking surgery or like, what do I do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I got surgery I've been waiting on, because again, my heart, like, I couldn't even walk. Like, my my bones were rejecting the hardware. And what was happening is, I got 16 screws and 3 plates in my ankle.
God damn.
And the screws were backing out and were getting to my nerves and were tearing my nerve. That's why, like, I started getting back in the cane. Like, dude, walking out of the airport into the plane and walking out was like the fucking craziest shit. And even being on the show was just like, I was just thugging through that pain, bro. Like, and I literally, called the doctors like, hey, I'm gonna have to postpone this surgery or whatever. Cause I'm like, I gotta go on this show, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, and dude, I had to, went on the show. I feel like I got played because the whole concept of the show was you gotta make, with what they give you to make, some out the wall, crazy food. And my food was immaculate, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, make sure you check out the show, man. But like, again, bro, my food was just off the top,
Yeah.
But
it
anyway,
looked like actual like cuisine.
that was
Like,
the
it
whole
didn't look
concept.
like it didn't look like convict food. It didn't look like spreads
The
and
concept of the show was make high end cuisine food out of what they give you. You know what I'm saying? I followed it exactly. If they wanted a spread, I could have made them an amazing spread, but I didn't.
Right.
I went with trying to make some actual like,
Real
what I'm saying?
food.
Real food. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. Like I still appreciate it. It was amazing. Thank you, Steve. Like, that was really cool. You know what I'm saying? It was like, again, I appreciate everything that comes my way, and it was really cool. But again, I had a postpone surgery. Did all that, and mind you, this is through the peak of me still going through my whole thing. I gained hella weight, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, but like, that was a little kind of like, man, I got.
Whose idea was you being in the wife beater?
They did.
Yeah, because you're off that.
The guy was like, it's funny, I got a video, the guy's putting on the mic, right? And he's like, hey, we got to mic you up. And it's funny because I'm recording, and I'm like, this is probably the only time this is the only time I'm going to have a mic on. Yeah. They're done. I'll show you the video, and the guys are cracking up. I'm like, this is probably the only time I'll be mic'd up, man. Yeah. And so as they're putting the mic on, the guy's like, hey, don't, I'm gonna touch you a little bit to get this mic on. And the guy's like, and mind you, I haven't, dude, I gained a lot of weight. You can see it in the video, you know what I'm saying? And the guy still was like, man, you got some big arms, bro. I'm like, he goes, hey,
Diddy,
you record with your shirt off? I'm
Watch out, Diddy.
What the hell? Like, I'm like, I took it as a compliment. Like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, I ain't tripping, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. So, like, dude, they had me with a shirt, and then like they would tell me like, cause it's all pretty, all right, take your shirt off. All right, put your shirt on. So it was constant. I'm like, god damn. So like they want some. That's why on the thing that you'll see, I have my shirt on some of it, and they have my shirt off. Mind you, I wasn't even in my peak. I was, But anyways, but yeah. So that's why they told me like, you got tattoos, you got some like we gonna need that or whatever.
You're really the only one that looked like an actual convict,
dude. One guy was in there, like they were all cool. The people I was with, they're amazing people. You know what I'm saying? Like, but they were all hella cool. Yeah. And but yeah, I was the only one. Like one did 3 to 4 years or whatever. The other dude did 6 months, and then they asked me how much time I did. I'm like 10 years.
Right, and I love that they actually made sure you didn't have no weirdos on there.
Yeah,
no weird charges.
Yeah, no X and Y's, no motherfucking chomos and nothing like that.
That's what I'm saying. Steve's at the end of the day, like he's with the shit, bro.
Yeah,
he's tight, bro. Like he's really cool as fuck. Like that's a really cool dude. Like he's one of those guys that I admire him because he's like everyone in that lifestyle. He's really him.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, if that motherfucker wants to drink and get a stripper and like blow up a car, that motherfucker will do it.
Yeah, that's dope.
And the biggest thing, he's most people give out money that's not theirs. Like he really gives money that's his.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too. Yeah.
Like for real, like he's like, you know what? I'm gonna give my money. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do this. Like he does that.
Shout
like,
out Steve.
Yeah,
Who was that dude that was on your line the whole time though? Steiny, this fool snatched him up. You guys didn't watch it. He snatched him
that
up.
was real.
Like, oh yeah, picked him up, yeah.
I would pick him up too. If he
My
said
whole
that
thing
shit.
is like I sweat, man. Like that's one thing that's like, you know, I sweat. Like, you know, that's just how my body is. I'm just a warm body. I sweat.
Mhm.
Well, mind you, I'm cooking. I'm on this show. They're talking about, you know, the guests.
Yeah, getting it.
Get the guest person there. He comes, whatever. He's like, whatever. And the whole concept, he's a troller or something.
Right.
Yeah.
What they're called.
yeah.
So I don't
troll.
even, you know.
Yeah, troll. They just
trolls.
doesn't mean they talk shit.
Yeah, and then mind you, like I don't care. I know it's a show, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, whatever. Well, during the show, like I'm sitting there cooking, you know, I'm getting down because we're really getting timed, and you know, I'm trying to perform, you know, and I have this whole idea when I'm doing whatever this is. First interaction, him and Steve come to my table, and they didn't really show this part, but he comes to my thing, and he's just like, "What's up, bitch?" And I'm just like, oh, what the fuck? Like it threw me off, bro.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I don't even know you, bro. Like
Yeah.
I know I'm on a show and whatever, but like that's the first thing you tell me. Like I don't even know you, bro. Like he's just like, "What's up, bitch?" And I'm like, "Bro, I'm from the Bay. I don't get down with that bitch word, bro." And I'm just kind of like pushed
Yeah.
it aside, whatever. And that was it, you know. But I'm like, "What the fuck? That was weird, bro." Like I ain't gonna lie, I started sweating. I'm like, "Bro, whatever."
That
Like
flew out.
Yeah, that's
See, but
what-
I'm gonna tell you, and I told you this on the phone because you talked to me about it, right? In SAC, they really be saying that, like on a.
which I know, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a, what's up, bitch? Hey, bitch. Like you know,
That
like,
shit
Yeah,
crazy
but
to me.
that's amongst friends though.
Yeah.
like you know,
Even
not
if
somebody you don't know.
If it's my friend, I ain't.
Yeah, no,
I ain't
don't
doing.
play
I'm
with that
not
word.
saying I'm with that shit.
Yeah, I'm not
Like,
playing with that
you
word.
but
straight up, and like me, like
Someone you don't know.
don't get me wrong. If you're like, damn, bitch, like whatever, I'm not gonna beat you up. It's like whatever. But like you come and it's your first, like, what's up, bitch? Like, bro, it made me hella uncomfortable because like as you said, I could easily just like
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I could have just cracked this, but I'm just like, I know I'm on a show. I'm just like, whoa, like
Shoulda
hold
did
on,
it.
bro,
Should have
like.
did it.
That'd have been
I'm
hilarious.
just
yeah,
like,
that probably would have got
I'm
ratings.
like, yeah, but
Probably would have won.
that's not me, man.
You would have went right to jail for sure.
I'm a humble
You would have
motherfucker,
went
like,
right to
you know
jail
what I'm
hitting
saying?
one of the
Like,
white dudes in the face like
absolutely.
that.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that,
Yeah.
whatever. So I'm
But
just like,
You
on
knew what you
camera.
were doing. Yeah.
absolutely. But it made me uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, whatever. I just kind of push that aside.
Yeah.
Long story short, it's a show. Like, there's producers, whatever. They're filming. Well, one of the producers comes on set to tell the one of the dudes. He's like, "Hey, man, like, talk shit back to them. Like, it's okay. This is part of the show. Steve and Steiny they're disrespectful. Talk shit back. Don't let like." And then he tells all of us, all you guys can talk shit back. Like, it's part of the show. You get. And I made a comment. I said, "Fuck talking shit. You know, fuck talking shit. If that fool like," and I'm just like, "Fuck talking shit. If that motherfucker comes call me a bitch again, I'm gonna choke him out." The
Yep.
producer's like, "Yeah, go ahead. As long as you don't physically hurt no one, like,
Yeah.
don't punch no one, like, you're good." So I'm like, all right, like.
Say less.
And then the homegirl was just like, you won't choke him out. I'm like, girl, let this motherfucker call me a bitch again. Like, I'm gonna put him in the head because he was a little dude. You know, what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I was like, I'm gonna put him in a headlock. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know what it was, but I think that fool Steve. I don't know what it was, but I think Steve was like, go out there and call him a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the producer, but he didn't know though. He really didn't know because they didn't show the part where he was tripping. Like, so we're cooking and they're doing recording. Everyone's doing their thing. So I'm cooking, and then sure enough, that fool comes to my. And I remember he comes to my thing, and I'm just like, they're like, "What you making?" Whatever. And then Steve's like, "Hey man, word on the street is," and within that same thing, he goes, "You're a bitch." Right? I'm like, bro, literally within it, Steve's like,
Yeah.
hey man, I heard word on the street is, and then that fool Steiny's like, "Hey, you're a bitch." Oh, I went to grab, mind you, I got a fucked up leg too, and I'm not healthy as I'm usually am, you know. But I was like, I went to go grab him, but when I grabbed him, I felt how light this little motherfucker was, and kind of I just literally just took him straight up, just pressed this motherfucker. I said, "What? Call me a bitch again?" He just like his face is just he did not know I was gonna pick him up.
Yeah.
Call me a bitch again. I'm just laughing, and they're like, "Put him down." I'm like, "Fuck!" I'm just like, and he's talking shit. I'm like, "Bro, you know what it is, motherfucker." Like,
Yeah.
goddamn, like, And at the end of the day, like they did that. The producer comes up.
He was tripping after
cracking. Yeah, well, he ended up leaving. Whatever, the producer comes back cracking up. He goes, "Damn, you really did that shit." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I did. Fuck that fool."
Yeah, fuck that
like
fool.
you know. And then he's just like, "I just want to double check. Like, you guys are good. Like, you guys cool." I'm like, "Yeah, it's part of the show." And then like they had asked like the homegirls like, "Damn, like that's crazy. Like
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't punch him." I'm like, punching him would have been way easier than doing that, and just
Right.
like quick. But I'm not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like I said, it's funny. I wanted it's part of the show. Like again, I was really grateful to be there. You know what I'm saying?
Misdemeanor.
But
Felony.
I'll tell you straight up.
Misdemeanor,
I'll tell you
bro.
straight up. Bro, I don't think you're gonna walk up and call someone a bitch like that.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hell no.
I hammed his ass up, bro. Like,
Especially man, you talking to a bunch of ex-convicts.
yeah.
You know?
Nah, he playing.
Like, are you serious?
And I'm humble enough. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna take advantage of you know what I'm saying? Like, I could have easily, but I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
I'm a cool guy. You get away with a lot. Like, bro, I'm not gonna go to jail. You know what I'm saying? Over punching, you call me a bitch. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but it was just funny as fuck. I picked his little ass up. All I feel is feet
I was
kicking
with
my
you.
chest. He just
It was all dangling on your fucking chest.
Feet kicking your
he
chest.
just kicking my stomach,
Bro.
It's like he was picking up the
Yeah.
dude from what's that movie, Little Man, with the
Yeah.
That shit
Damon
was
Wayans,
funny.
that shit was up.
And it's funny because I remember after the whole show, I
Marlon
remember
Wayans, yeah.
I called my girl. She's like, "How was it?" I said, "Yeah, I didn't win," and she goes,
Yeah, so
"Fine."
let's talk about that. Like what I seen that whole shit, right?
Yeah.
So like the chick who ended up beating you in that fucking thing, well, that shit looked janky.
Yeah, that's what, like I said.
Oh, that's why.
It's
It was a
She wore a
chick.
little hat. Did she wear a little hat?
No,
No?
she was
Weird.
she was sitting
yeah, but like I said, I don't like in my head I'm like I won, no disrespect to
Yeah.
other people, but I'm like, dude, the whole concept was to make a gourmet meal out of what we got,
Yeah.
bro. You know what I'm saying? I made a rice chow mein. You know what I'm saying? I even played it, garnished it like a motherfucker. Like I made that shit look cool.
Yeah, we got a homie that was on that tattoo show.
Yeah, Nilla.
Yeah,
Manifest Mark.
And
Yeah.
he was like, that shit's kind of like they know who they want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
What's it, Master
Absolutely.
Inc. or
Yeah, yeah.
Ink Master?
Ink Master.
Ink Master, yeah.
And
Season 2.
Yeah. Shout out Nilla, man.
Yeah.
Shout out Nilla, man.
like I said, it was cool. Like, don't get me wrong, I liked the whole experience. It was really cool, but like I felt like that was taken from me, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I did everything what the whole concept was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and then whatever. And I remember getting home, and then we're talking about it. I'm like, yeah, this one of the motherfucker called me a bitch. I picked him up. And then my girl was like, "That's why you didn't win." I'm like, I don't think that was it. You know what I'm saying?
that was it.
I don't, but still.
I think they already knew
Yeah,
who was
I
going to
think
win
they-
beforehand,
for sure.
right? And it's all about ratings and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Controversy, because the same thing with Manifest Mark and Nilly. He said the same shit. Like, he probably should have won. He had some chick antagonizing him and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, so it's all scripted. It's all production, right? So
Yeah.
whatever gets the most ratings, whatever's going to be favorable.
Even if
to
you
them.
don't see the script, it's still
Yeah.
they have a general outline.
Right.
Right.
The producers have their own production script, like this is what's going to happen.
Right.
And so, it's
You see
kind of reality, but it's kind of scripted without a script, because just like they told you, like talk shit back, like make it
Yeah.
interesting. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And that's one thing it was hard for me. Like, I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying? I was just like, I'm just here to cook. I was literally telling him, I'm
Right.
just here to cook, man. Like, I'm here to get down, bro. Like, and like, like that was part of like the thing when they were asking me, like, what is your cooking experience and even being incarcerated? I said, bro, like at the end of the day, like, I literally knew the recipes on in being in prison, like knowing like, okay, a tamal, it's corn,
Right.
it has meat. And so I'm like, dude, okay, I could get tortillas, break them down, and like steak and eggs. I remember dude, they pulled up and then they were tripping on the steak and eggs. I'm like, how the hell you do that? Well, you get the beef jerky, you let it sit in water,
Yeah.
it gets back to its
Soft,
normal
yeah.
state. You know what I'm saying? And I just put seasoning and damp it out, and then just get the eggs, cook the eggs. You know what I'm saying? Make a little steak and egg. Like everything that was on the street, salt fest, I would make in prison. Like, how can I make this in here? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what I was doing. So that's why I'm like, bro, this show,
That's
bro, I
tight.
got this. You know what I'm saying? Like, but at the
That's
end of the day,
tight.
I'm like, damn, I want my run back, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve, give him
But-
his
so-
runbacks.
So that whole thing was enlightening though, as far as how they did your social media, how they did the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Like it
Oh,
really,
absolutely.
yeah.
Like I said, I'm very grateful because it's like one thing, like how you said, like Steve is very particular on one of the things he does. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And like I said, you gotta admire that, especially like I don't know that type of lifestyle of being like a celebrity and all that shit. But like when you got a motherfucker that's like no, or like yeah, like you should have said I don't want no pedophile on this motherfucker.
Right.
Like I
Right.
don't
Love
want no
that.
fucking and at the end of the day, like he's his own, but at the same time, like if you have the platform or even the gist of doing that, to have that type of control is kind of crazy because most people just whatever, it's okay,
Yeah.
Right.
like you know what I'm saying. But like
Fuck
if you
that.
stand on some, to have the integrity and morals of it, you know what I'm saying, that that's cool,
Right.
especially that individual doing that certain things. But yeah, like it
Yeah,
was
and
cool.
it's very rare for people to stand on it, right? Especially in Hollywood. What well, I mean that's not really Hollywood, but it's social media. But it's
Yeah,
rare for people to stand on business like that and be like,
yeah,
"Hey, dude, I don't want these type of people on my platform." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Very rare. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
and
Yeah, and like I said, you have to admire that, and at the end of the day, like, that's what I said, um, Steve is really one of those guys that is him. That's him. He has no one kind of like dictating him or nothing. You know what I'm saying? He's with the shit, bro. Like, and that's one thing you gotta admire. But the
Yep.
other thing too, like, I appreciate it the most because again, like, one thing I want to talk about it was, again, like. I've been corrected multiple times, like you don't owe no one nothing, right?
Yeah.
And that's the easiest way to say that. I owe it to the people, what I'm saying, that kind of educated me, enlightened me, and helped me get through this. You know what I'm saying?
all right,
And but those are the same ones, like you don't owe shit, But at the
Yeah.
same
The
time,
only thing you owe them is your personal success, bro.
right,
absolutely. And I feel like at the end of the day, like what I've done, you know what I'm saying. I know that a lot of individuals don't have not even the opportunity of doing certain things like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To be in the, because I've been told multiple like, man, you're the only homie, you know what I'm saying, active, that actually does that, that actually been on a commercial, that actually, been
Yeah.
doing this,
right,
and at the end of the day, it's like, of course, and it's like to me, that's like a give back, because it's like, and not even just for the homie, just for people that are been incarcerated, either doing life or actually coming out, to give them a chance. Like, dude, look, I did it. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Like, I was able to do it. And like I said, it goes through all races. Because I've had Southerners, Northerners, the blacks, everyone, literally
right,
everyone, reach out to me. And like I said, I'm very open. You know what I'm saying? Especially on social media.
right,
Like you reach out to me and you give me some positive things. I'm literally gonna reach. Thank you, bro. Like I
Yep.
appreciate that. Like I said, I've had people from down south like, damn, brother, like that's some real solid shit, bro. To see
Yeah.
someone that I was on the lines with, you know what I'm saying, actually doing that. Because at the end of the day, they might not remember your name or where you from, but they know the face, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
literally that, hey man, I
Oh,
seen you, because some of them posted me like, damn, that's what's up. Look at the
damn,
yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah.
yeah, look at this dude, like he really doing his thing. And it's like, and when you post someone, like even if they don't tag you, it still pops up on like
Yeah.
this
Shared.
individual,
It has that little
and I'm
purple
just
thing.
like,
Now.
damn, like that's pretty cool, and like, saying positive things like, hey, this individual was incarcerated, solid individual doing this thing, and that's, you gotta kind of respect it, like that's
right,
tight, and that's what I'm saying. The broad spectrum of it is like, damn, like that to me is like, thank you, like,
Yeah.
for what you guys had done that, because at the end of the day, some people aren't blessed to have the opportunity to actually come out,
right,
just that
Right.
alone, and to be able to do things. It's like, I know the brothers, like, seeing this,
right,
and
Yeah.
like, through messages, like, like I said, random people reach out like, oh, my husband so and so, or my dad so and so, like literally messages like, my dad just seen your little thing, and he's so and so, and he just want to say that, that's really cool that you were able to do that, just
yeah,
All right.
and again, like I don't really talk about my, if I see you and like, hey man, like I heard, yeah, I'll take the time, absolutely, yeah, I done this, but for me, I never, like I said, I've been asked to do certain podcasts. I've done one too for like the city of Brentwood. I did a podcast because it's,
right,
I'm a local, they want, they
That's where
want
the
me
restaurant was.
yeah, well, it was in Discovery Bay,
Oh,
Yeah.
disgusting.
but I'm native to Oakley, but Brentwood's right there, so they're
Okay.
like, and they wanted to use the press wanted to use my story, turning his life around, incarcerated, doing, of course,
Right.
I'm like, hell yeah, especially
That's
if the
tight.
city reaches out, like, of course, but for me, it's like, it's kind of hard to sit here and talk about myself in that sense, but
It's
again,
important though.
Yeah, it's very
one of
important.
my boys reached out, was just like, you have to do this, bro. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? You have to talk about it, because at the end of the day, it's not so much of the hugs and kisses for you, but it's for the enlightenment of those that are still
Right.
incarcerated
And they're out and think
yeah,
that's the only like it's hard for homies, right? When they get out, they think just being solid ain't enough. Doing that time solid ain't enough. That they got to get back into certain stuff, and it's important. And we always stress this too. Is like, bro, handle your. You got to be a grown man. You got to handle your business, whatever that means for you, right?
Right.
And so for you do what you keep doing, because it's one fucking thing after another, and now it's the fucking meal preps. It's important for homies to be able to see that, man. He's
Right.
still embraced, he's still loved, and we don't need him out here doing all the extra shit. Just keep being Greg Raynoso. You're successful at it, and you represent us in a great fucking light, and we
Right.
love it.
yeah,
And that's why it's important to have you here, because what we do is we try to focus on people that have been in the lifestyle, right, that are still good on their side, but able to be successful. And
Yep.
we have plenty of homies that come on here who've been incarcerated, who've been through the ringer, been shot, been stabbed, and the narrative is like, oh, you have to be all bad. You have to drop out. Like if you drop out, then you can
order
be
to
in
find
order
success
to be successful
on the street.
But
Yeah.
man, we time after time we've had people on here that
Yep.
counters that narrative, right? And you're a major part in that,
And not
right?
only that, not only that too, bro. It's just letting people know what can be obtained if you go after it. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like
Yeah.
a lot of people just think like, not knocking no jobs or anything like that. I work a union job, you know what I mean? But a lot of people are like, that's the pinnacle of success. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like no, we're actually a couple people away from Hollywood. We're a couple
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
away from these big records. I mean, we're only 7 conversations away from a millionaire, right? You told me that.
No, I said that you're only 3 people away from anyone in the world.
Yeah.
So
That's
this
crazy.
one person knows somebody who knows somebody who knows that person. So you're 3 people, you're 3 phone numbers away
Man.
from anybody in the world. So if you know somebody that knows somebody, they know somebody else that knows somebody, then people know that person.
Yeah.
Whether it be the president of the United States, whether it be fucking Vladimir Putin, like you're only 3 calls away from
Yeah.
that person.
Hey, that third person, call me, man.
Call me too.
Yeah.
Nah, but for real, it's dope. And so now you're doing the fucking
The meal prepping.
meal prepping.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So that came about. So I ended up, after we sold the restaurant, I ended up which was a kind of a hard thing, man. It was bittersweet, but like I remember one of the persons I called was Q. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
From that type
Q.
voice.
Shout out Q.
shout out to my boy,
Yep.
man.
Yeah,
He's
solid.
people need to take advantage of when he talks, man.
Shut up and
Yeah.
listen. Yeah,
Oh,
hell yeah.
absolutely. And that's the thing is like, I was always taught, utilize your people, bro. You know what I'm saying? And some people flip that as like, oh, he's just trying to
Use me. You know.
Hell yeah, I'm trying to use you,
Yeah.
motherfucker. Like you made it. You're there. But what happens is you start, which I get. You probably got played or some happened down the line. But you can't use that bitterness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and that's like how Q is. He's like, yeah, you whatever you need, bro. Like he's one of those guys that like, And the biggest thing for me is like to having like that person I could call, and that's one of the guys that's like, we've built a decent relationship to where I could call him, like, and I ask him questions. And I remember asking him like, hey, look, I have a chance to kind of like sell this, but at the end of the day, like, this is what I was built. And he said straight up, he goes, that's not you though. You know what I'm saying? You got to remember like who your success is, who you are,
Right.
and everything that you created, you could pretty much do it again. Like at the end of the day, like, you think you could do something else? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, well then fuck, like it ain't nothing. Do something else, bro. Like
Yeah.
get rid of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, I'm like, you know what? So we got rid of it. And then I ended up getting a job in food sales, which was cool. I made a decent amount of money. And
Where did you guys send the food though?
hell yeah, I was working selling foods to prison.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That was,
yeah.
So, I was a
That
sales
was
rep.
hilarious.
I was a
Dope.
sales rep, and we were selling canned goods, the big old cans that we were using for fryers,
Yeah.
the 610 cans. We were wholesaling them to facilities. I was one of the guys, that was selling them to the facilities as well as to the stores. Like when you go to like, the Safeways, Rayleigh's, Dollar Generals, we were selling the wholesale cans to them,
Wow.
But odd enough, yeah, I was selling to majority of the prisons that I was at already. Like,
That's crazy.
yeah, so I was the one, like, I could sit there thinking when I was busting the cans open in prison, now I was the one
Yeah.
selling the fucking cans, the inmates were busting open, what I'm saying? It was crazy how it worked. But for me, like I said, I made a decent amount of money, but it's the office thing, don't get me wrong. Like I like dressing up, what I'm saying? I always try to dress nice because I'm ugly.
Okay.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, one thing about me, like I always dress nice, man, But I like that, dressing up with the button ups and like
Okay. Do you?
yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
That's right.
I'm ugly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I gotta dress nice, man. So it's like I did like that part, but I didn't like the office, and it was just like boring. Like I made a decent amount of money, but again, Q was one of those motherfuckers. Like that's not your passion, bro. Like and he still talk shit. He'd be like, bro, you're gonna only make this much if you work that, but if you got the grit, whatever, like pursue what you're gonna do, man.
Right.
Right.
And you get the freedom of doing it, whatever you want. But again, like did that, and I started doing the meal prepping because now that I'm not running the restaurant, now I have a 9 to 5. I know when I'm off, and then your days off are your days off. You know what I'm saying? Dude, I started meal prepping for myself, and then social media, people seeing like, hey, you should. I would post like, this is what I'm eating today. Like this is what I'm eating, and then my girl was the ones like, damn, like what the fuck, you should sell that, motherfuckers. Like,
Yeah. Because
I'm
so
like,
many people was here.
so much people were reaching out to me like, hey man, would you sell that? Would you sell that? And I finally started thinking about it. I started pouring things out, creating a menu, doing all this. And then I reached out to one of my brothers, Adam, because he was one of the main guys. Like, bro, I hate cooking. Like,
Okay.
and then he had told me, he goes, bro, I'll buy all the shit, man. You just cook them for me. And so I took advantage of that. I'm like, hey, Adam, like, hey, you still want to do? I said, you buy all the food, I'll make it. You know what I'm saying? For me, it's like I can start building the menu, seeing what works. And bro, that's where Fit Skill came out. Like, I started meal prepping and then kind of blew up. But in the
What's the
same
name of
time,
it?
Fit Scale.
Fit scale.
Yeah, because
Okay.
it's fit
Your
and it's
girl's
all weighed
smart,
out.
bro.
You know?
Your
Yeah.
girl's smart.
But the
She got a
thing-
Mexican that cooks, blood.
Yeah,
I did the
yeah,
same
they're
thing,
big, man.
blood.
With the crazy thing about the whole thing was I was still working in the job that I was at, and then I was still doing my meal prepping,
Right.
and it finally got to the point where it's like, dude, I'm just gonna quit this, and I started doing the meal prepping, but that's where my accident happened. So I kind of like, dude, I was in the hospital going through the whole recovery, and then like, I wasn't, because technically I was doing my own business, I wasn't able to get what's that shit called?
Unemployment.
Unemployment.
Yeah.
And then like, so we had to go result to doing that full time, you know what I'm saying? Like, and like I said, it's actually thriving. And you being a restaurant owner, you understand like the meal prepping is where it's at, because at the end of the day, it's like, your sales. And that's one thing I love about it. With the whole restaurant thing is like, you have to buy food, you have the overhead, and not only that, there's a loss in the sense of like, you sell out, the possibility of you selling more, you lost that.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the loss of you made everything, you didn't sell it, now that's a loss. With
Right.
the meal prepping, like I know what exactly everything takes, so everything's part out. So, and then all of that, all the clients pay ahead of
Oh
time. You know what I'm
man,
saying?
yeah, and you got like a
So-
cup of this, a cup of that.
Yeah,
You
so
got
it's
it
all-
really
yeah,
down to it.
Yeah.
really like-
Yeah. Dope.
and in the business aspect, it works for me because it's like, all right, I know, okay, like with these clients, I know exactly what I need to buy. There's no food loss, you know what I'm saying? Everything, and like I said, it's been going great, bro. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
That's dope.
And it
That's
gives me
dope.
the freedom to actually like, enjoy my family and do the little things that I want to do. Oh, well, technically as of right now, heal,
Yeah.
Yeah.
recover, you know what I'm saying? But like,
It helps you, yeah, but
it's
it gives
been
you
cool.
gives you something to do too, bro. Especially when you're going through times of like self doubt, bro. Because going through pain and trying to heal and trying to get back to,
Man.
but like that's why a cold knocks a man down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For real, because you used to
Real
being
shit.
strong and all this other shit, and then they call it a man cold. It knocks you down. I felt like death, right?
Yeah.
So you got this thing where you're looking at the bottom of your Jordan. You know what I'm saying?
I'm telling you.
You really
Yeah.
thought you were gonna be one peg Willie. You know what I'm saying? And,
I
and,
want to name myself Longwood.
Longwood.
we lying now? No.
Hey, you
Remember-
your time to
no.
Remember I told you get a rollerblade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
told you I was gonna borrow every one of your shoes.
This
You know what I
he
mean?
really did say that.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro.
And
But
you
dude,
know, that keeps you
I was
busy,
in
bro.
your
Keeps you
position
positive.
before, dude. So I got shot. I was, you know, my leg was fucked up, you know, and it still is. It hurts every day to this day.
Dude.
And the depression is real, bro. When you laid up and you
Man,
can't move,
yeah.
you can't do what you do. Like, man, it's the depression is real. But
Yeah.
you know, overcoming that shit and just, you know, getting in the mindset of, man, I'm gonna do what the fuck I want when I fucked up. I was supposed to be on the cane till this day, but nah, I ain't doing
Yeah.
that shit. It's been what, I want to say 5 years since I got rid of my
Oh, no
cane.
way.
So yeah,
Oh,
still
yeah.
in pain every day, but it's nothing. I got used to it to where I don't even think about it. So yeah,
Like,
Mine
you won't get there.
I hope so,
Yeah.
man. Like I said, but I don't mind the pain, bro. Like for some reason, and I say this jokingly, but all my friends know that, bro. My body loves to struggle, motherfucker. Like, goddamn,
Bro, I got
Struggle with
pain is
height.
my religion tattooed on me, right? Because
Yeah.
pain is my religion. I'm in pain every day, so it's like
Yeah.
fuck it. I might as well just worship the motherfucker,
Might
right?
as
Worship
well.
pain. You know what I
Look.
mean? Fuck it.
That's
I'm gonna
crazy.
embrace it.
That's
So
That's why you stay busy
You got
every hour.
pain is my religion.
pain is my
Yeah,
religion, bro.
yeah.
Because bro. Like that's exactly why you said it. Like I stay busy. Like
Yeah.
I hardly sleep. You know what I mean? I stay busy. So it's like, you got to work through the pain. You know what I mean? Regardless,
You
and
got to.
can nothing ain't nothing gonna stop me. It ain't shit. It only hurt. Pain don't hurt, right? Like Patrick Swayze said in Roadhouse. He said, "Pain don't hurt."
Roadhouse.
You know what I mean?
And that's a
He
Oh,
also said.
That's Jet Li, motherfucker.
Oh, you know they all look alike.
Hey, but yeah, like I said,
real quick.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing for me. It's like you know, pain reminds you that you still living, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And
yeah.
again, like my biggest thing, I'm very grateful. You know, I might not be someone that goes to church all the time or someone that's like, you know, constantly posting things, but like, dude, I do believe in God and I do appreciate like everything that my body's went through, you know what I'm saying? And to be here and again, like I walk with a little limp, but bro, I'll take that limp and I'll take pain for the rest of my life, knowing that, you know, it's my own leg, you know,
Right.
like I could have easily been in a prosthetic leg, you know, or even worse, you know, but again, I am grateful, you know, and I do appreciate everything that's came my way, bro. Like,
Bro,
absolutely.
you've been blessed, right? And
Yeah.
everything that happened to you, like it came full circle, man. Like everything you went through brought you to where you're at today. And it made you who you are.
Like a
And it made you
motherfucker,
and still fighting through the pain and still walking like that brings you that strength, that character, that fucking, you know, that charisma, you know what I mean? Everything about you, because you got to fight that shit every day, and you got to be like, you got to wake up every morning and be like, fuck, I got to keep going. You got to go through that first step, right? And then, but that's who you are. It builds your character. It builds who you are. So you know what other people go through at the same time. When they go through pain, it kind of gives you a little more understanding, right? A little more empathy for other people. So you see people in a wheelchair, you see people who maybe lost their leg or whatever. You got a little more empathy for them people. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
damn,
Humble.
I could have been there.
Humble.
I'm glad I'm here. Like you said, the humbleness. You wake up grateful every day that you're here. You still got your leg and you're moving forward, dude. And I commend you for that. And
I appreciate that.
even before what happened to your leg, man, you know, for having the integrity to just stand on business and do time that wasn't yours, man. I salute you and I commend you. And I think you and everyone who was in your similar situation needs to be commended, right? That needs to be commended and put out there and be respected more. Because not a lot of people, you know, they see that and they forget about it. Like, man,
Right.
you just did 10 years, like you were talking about earlier. Like they see you differently. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this motherfucker, he's a prisoner, 10 years. Yeah, but you don't know why I did 10 years. You don't know the circumstances behind that. But that my 10 years ain't me. The crime I was accused of committing was not me. Even if you committed the crime, that crime does not define who you are. That was a
Absolutely.
situation. One situation doesn't define who you are. Now, if you were repetitive and habitual, that's a different line, right?
Right.
But the one situation, one bad move does not define who you are. And what defines who you are is what you do every day, what you've accomplished, what you continue to accomplish, and you're accomplishing it now. Every freaking day, being able to wake up and do what you do, man. I salute you.
I
Yeah,
appreciate that,
appreciate
man.
you.
That
for
was
real.
well
That's
I
said, man.
appreciate
Hell
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, dude, I really appreciate, being here, bro. Like, um, I, like I said, I've been asked like to get on podcasts and stuff like that, but like the biggest thing, like to share it on a good platform, you know what I'm saying? And like to share my story, which I knew that, like I knew one of these days, like believe it or not, like I do like to write, I don't do as much as I used to. But like dude, I started writing this little book, and then that was the title, Patience is Pain, you know, and the biggest thing for me was that whole point. Like I would always tell my family, like, because again, my dates changed multiple times. I was supposed to get out 2017.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I ended up getting out 2020, and it's like,
You're supposed to get out 2012.
yeah, I was supposed to, but
For real.
but again, like, being in there, like, nothing's promised, and for me, it's like, I would always tell my family, like, I'm in here, I gotta do what I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, but I promise you, once I get out, I stood on it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I gotta do what I gotta do here. You know what I'm saying? Support me while I'm in here. It is what it is. Um, but when I get out, I dedicate that. You know what I'm saying? I dedicate that, and that's the biggest thing. And I'm not talking down on nobody. To he's his own, but like, uh, being an active homie literally hinders you in a lot of things for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? And so you gotta kind of learn how to kind of wiggle that, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that's why I always tell people, for those that know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yep.
And for those that don't, you know what I'm saying? Don't. And I can't tell you how
No,
much
me
times,
too.
like I've been in Pebble Beach, I've done the Concourse Elegance, I've cooked there, I've cooked at the Pro-Am. I remember even talking to someone there, and they're asking like, oh, you're a cook? Like, yeah, and they're like, so where did you get your experience to cook for all these people? And I'm like, and they're like, well, no, they is like, what's the most you cooked for? I was at 3,000 people. And he's like, oh, no way. He goes, where did you learn how to cook that? I said, prison. He goes, and you're here? I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
because now I could do that.
Yeah.
But if you were to do that in the beginning, they ain't gonna let you go there. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, you gotta kind of learn, and it's not taking advantage of nothing. It's just using what you got. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Right.
And my biggest thing is this, like, the reason why I never really got on podcasts is because a lot of them are just like, we want to hear like what you do in prison, like
Yeah.
what you
Yeah.
did here,
Yeah.
there. Ask
all
me
those
about my
podcasts talking about what
ask,
happened when this cracked off.
ask me about who I am, you know what I'm saying, and what I want to do, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
and what I've done,
Yeah.
like,
Well,
and that's the
prison is a
biggest
part
thing.
of your story,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
So you get to
But some
that,
people
and
just
that's
want to share that part, like,
right.
you know what I'm
No,
saying?
we
Like,
It's a part of it.
yeah,
we
it's
want to share.
absolutely.
We want to share the whole thing.
Blurry.
Yeah. No, it's just that.
Oh.
It's don't trip. It's just that. But yeah, we
Yeah.
want to share the whole experience. But prison is a part of it, right?
Absolutely.
But who you are now, like I said, who you
Yeah.
are now, what you've done defines who you are.
Right.
Prison wasn't, but that's an obstacle.
Yeah.
And for us to give hope to people who have been there and lost their way, right? Who seem like, man, they get out, like, Fats got out, right? And it was hard for him,
Jeez, yeah.
right? After 23 years, it
100%.
was hard. Like doors were closing left and right on him. I don't want to tell your story for you,
Yeah.
but doors were closing left and right for him, and I was right here seeing it. Like, God damn, that shit ain't fair. What the fuck? It's one of the best dudes I know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and how to
100%, bro.
like real
Yeah.
shit. So like man, there's got to be a different way, right? But it's that shit where people see, they see the tattoos, they see the prison record, they don't see the person,
They don't see
right?
a person,
And
yeah.
so we have to figure out a way to get past that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and
I
but
think,
still be who we are.
Mhm.
and I think that's why, like, talking, like I said, I still talk to a lot of my friends, and one of my boys was just like, exactly what you're saying. That's why you jump on it.
Right.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
huh?
Yep.
He goes, for real. And he goes, and at the end of the day, like, he's like, I don't want to blow your head up, but dude, you got something crazy. You know what I'm saying? People don't
Right.
really do what you do, man. You got to share that, bro. If people are just sharing this crazy stuff, like, why wouldn't that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's why I'm like, damn, I literally was going against everything I thought. thing I thought, you know what I'm saying? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, man, you know, I have to, you know, and that's why not do it here?
Right.
know?
And so, you know, what's crazy is breaking the stigma, right? Is crucial for people that come after you, right? Homies. Me, I ain't gonna lie, you know how I am. I don't I'm not really tripping on anybody else, right? It's not fucking it is fuck some people, but I'm focused on my people,
Right.
right? On the homies, really.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying? So like how do I put the homies in the best situation? We didn't really have a voice. You know what I'm saying? That's why when we talk about who we're gonna bring on, it's not just superstars and the dudes doing the rap shit. We want to bring on motherfuckers like you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Where we could be like, look, bro, we get there's a lane where you might have to do certain things that we all grew up in.
Right.
You know, terrible things to human beings, right? Like, and so I get that, right? But once that's done, right? Once that's done, now we have this whole other thing,
Yeah.
right? And people have to be able to see that regardless if you've been in prison or not, people are multifaceted. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And you talk about being used, right? And how, yeah, I feel like I always say this too, as people, we're all cogs in a watch,
Right.
right? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So in order for you to know what time it is, you got to be able to do your shit right. You know what I'm saying? That's how you learn what time it is, right? So they see the I ain't gonna say no names, but they see the dudes that go on those podcasts, you know what I'm saying, talk about downing motherfuckers and handling their business, right? Like soldiers, but they also need to be able to see the Greg Raynosos, you
Right.
know what I'm
Mhm.
saying, and the BFDs and the Rico Two Smooths, you know what I'm saying, that are and not even if you ain't been to the prison, cause it been and Q's, you know what I'm
Right.
saying, like the motherfuckers that grew up in a lifestyle and became successful, like the Big Tones, you know what I'm saying, that they have to see that,
Yeah.
Yeah, to let them know that they can attain it.
right,
Don't
and
just
so
let
that
them know.
they know there's a choice, that it's not that you think it's just this one way. That
Mhm.
and I can name a bunch more. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Right.
saying? I can name a shit ton more. You know what I'm saying? Solid ass homies. They walk in the room, they getting handshakes and hugs, and it's all heartfelt. You know what I'm saying? They might break your jaw. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah.
But if they do, they got a lot more to lose than a motherfucker that's just sitting out here drinking and
That-
partying with
Mhm.
the thing in his waistband. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, not even
That's
sure
the-
if he
you know,
fought.
But you're not lying. I literally said this the other day when they're like, you know, you pick that dude up, like,
Yeah.
oh, someone called me, I would have punched him. I said, well, that's the difference between me. Like, if I end up punching you, you better understand that's for a reason, because I actually thought about it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which some people don't. I got boys that you just look at. It's
Right.
like, hey, bro, what's up? Like, hey, man, chill. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, you know, and me, like, you know, I literally said this other day. I'm like, bro, that's the difference between me. I'm cool. I'm humble. Like, you get away with some things because I'm really gonna think about it.
Right.
So within saying that, just understand if I do get on you, take
For
take
real,
it for a real shit, because I literally thought about that.
Yeah, and you
You
know
know what
what's
I'm saying?
crazy is that little nerd, little troll would have took away our Greg Raynoso,
Yeah.
right? And so we would have, right, because of one word. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
man, it is what it is.
It
And
is.
fuck
Right.
that dude, really. You know,
Yeah.
playing with that word like that. But the truth is, I'm glad you ain't punched that dude. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah, no, for
Exactly.
sure, and like you said it best, you know, and that's the thing for me. It's like, you know, I feel like I don't gotta wear no shirt to prove nothing, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? And for those who know, and for those that don't, you know, it's cool,
Yeah.
it's fine, and
Yeah.
that's why my whole thing is, you know, I could continue on to still build, you know what I'm saying, what we could do. And it's funny because I was talking to the brother, he's just like, man, you know, everything you're doing is cool, you know, it's cool to live off of your stories, man,
Yeah.
and it's cool to live out there. I said, well, bro, you better pay attention, because, you know, this little camera's a little, you know, a little wobbly, man, but we still pushing forward, bro. You know what I'm saying?
My mama, yeah.
Forever
We're super
forward,
proud
bro.
of you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We watching your fucking how you been grooving through this whole motherfucker, bro, and I'm super proud of you, Greg.
And I think that's why
For real.
I think that's why the when you were leaving the pen and the homies were proud of you,
Yeah.
right? They were happy that you were leaving because they're kind of living vicariously through you,
Oh, mama,
right?
they tell me
so
that all the time too. Yeah.
every
they
time
do.
they see
They do.
like they gonna see you on this podcast. Every time they see you, whatever you do, like they're like, man, that's one of us. That's my brother right there. He's doing it, and I'm proud of him. I can't get that life, but instead of being bitter about it, man, they're just like, fuck
Absolutely.
fuck yeah, I know
Positive
him.
mental
That's
attitude,
my
right?
that's my motherfucking
That's
brother.
almost all the homies, too.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's and that,
You got your little haters, you got the little backbiters in there
Yeah.
for
that's
sure.
what
Everybody
people don't
does.
see.
You know
That's
what I'm
what
saying?
people don't see because the narrative is, oh man, your homies ain't gonna do shit for you. Your homies are gonna put
Yeah,
you in
that's all
fucked up
cap, yeah.
situations. The homies ain't, they don't look out for you. Whatever. That narrative's been fucking kicked down the street and gone already, right? Because we've seen it time and time again where motherfuckers look out. And if there's anything we can do for you, I can do for you personally,
Sure.
you
Nah,
already just let me know, man. You family now. You on No Paperwork Podcast. It's not just a podcast. It's not just for likes and views, bro. This is for relationships. This is for helping each other out, helping people grow. And like I said, whatever you need, man, it's nothing but a phone call. You got one more phone call in the book.
Yeah.
That knows
That
somebody,
third phone
right?
call.
Yeah,
Third phone call.
one more
Yeah.
to get to the third, right?
Sure.
Because I might know somebody you need that knows. I might know somebody that knows somebody you need, right?
Yes, sir.
And it goes both ways, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And
Yeah.
like I said, I've always been open, my social media is pretty much open. Like
I know. The first time I met you, we shot a video in your restaurant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it would. But that's what I'm saying. I'm very open. Like, it don't matter. Like, I'm not scared of no post, bro. Like, or no message. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, feel free. And like I said, I've always been, and like I said, it's been cool because I get them random messages like, hey, this. And I'm like, and that's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's hella cool, and one of my cousins had told me this. I'm like, she goes, it's crazy because your social media is different in the sense that like, because I'm like, I ain't got no followers like that, She goes, she goes, I got hella followers, but that's different. Like, all your followers are actually your followers. Like, they actually pay attention and watch your shit and comment. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, give a fuck about your life.
Dude,
Right,
and that's crazy. So I'm like, damn, and that's why, like, I do appreciate all those good comments and those good messages, all those reposts, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's pretty cool. Like I said, we still moving forward, I gotta shine for my boys, man.
Yeah.
They use the most ugliest motherfucker, but we out here, you know what I'm saying? We still pushing. Goddamn.
Yeah, man. Well,
That's crazy.
Keep shining, man. Keep
Yes, sir.
grinding, man. And we hope to see more of your progress, man. And man, we gonna get out of here right now. But is there anything else you want to say before we end this?
Dude, I want to tell everyone that's, been with me, you know what I'm saying, and those in the future that's going to run into me, man. I appreciate you all, for real, I appreciate, my whole family, my friends, and the strangers too, bro. Like, literally everyone that's been supporting me from the beginning, thank you, and to my tío and to my boy, man, I appreciate you guys, at the end of the day. I really do.
Oh yeah. Well, man, you got
God bless the game.
you got a new supporter with me right here,
I
like a new fan. So I'm definitely a fan of you as a person. You know what I mean? Because you've been through the ringer, man. You kept it solid, and you're here, and you're doing big things, man. So here's to much success for you, man, in the future, and everything you're doing, man.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate
God
it.
bless the game, man. And man, we up out of here, man. No Paperwork Podcast.
Greg
man.
Raynoso.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Is
all
that
that shit.
broke?
Joe Bob, Greg Raynoso, BFD, your boy Insane.
It's not broke.
Man,
no more, bro.
it ain't broke no more,
It ain't
man.
broke,
And
bro.
we out of
God
here.
bless the game.
Peace.
When times get hard, haters wanna pull your card. Gotta keep it gangster, bro. You gotta keep it gangster, bro. When you're riding around, sliding through your town, gotta keep it gangster, bro. Gotta keep it gangster, bro.
Ill gang. My respect is always earned, cause in them streets I'm far from average. Remember in my circle, known to let them suckers have it. Causing damage, never wrecking, well maintaining my composure. Graduated from a soldier, now the one that's giving orders. Got the teeth straight full of beast, out here thugging in these streets. Staying solid, always acting, never accepting defeat. Never catch me on my knees, I'd rather die up on my feet. Never let the opposition never get the best of me. Got a heart that's just like granite, kinda dark and hard to break. I'm just a product of my struggle, and it's just how I was made. If you a gangster, be a gangster. gangster, homie, thug it to the fullest. But understand it comes with rules and consequences for the foolish. Never snitch, never switch, never leave a homie stranded. Never talk down on your people and maintain a higher standard. Show respect to those who earn it, disregard those hating punks, and always keep a gangster, put that 14th letter up.
When times get hard, haters wanna pull your card. Gotta keep it gangster, bro. You gotta keep it gangster, bro. When you're riding around, sliding through your town, gotta keep it gangster, bro. Gotta keep it gangster, bro.
Loco. I put some slugs up in the sucker's belly to put some food up in my sons. Boy, I come from the slums where we stay chasing hugs. Every day it's get money, catch a buzz. Losing homies left and right, you wonder why we staying numb and lick it up. And yeah, I'm always twisting up a blunt. Look 'em in the eye, staring down the barrel of my gun. Don't need the front, live my life on the run. Making moves under this door, the Cali sunshine. Throw up the gang, slang dangs and pack nines. Ain't no holding back time. My son got me looking at you cowards like it's snack time. So tell me who's the animal when I'm only trying to eat. Feed my seed, pay my rent, and put some shoes up on my feet. It ain't my fault we play for keeps. When times get rough, fuck stress and keep it G. Love those loyal to me and fuck who turn their back on me. And since only God can judge me, yeah, my middle finger's up. Before you speak on mental ill, just know that we don't give a fuck.
When times get hard, haters wanna pull your card. Gotta keep it gangster, bro. You gotta keep it gangster, bro. When you're riding around, sliding through your town, gotta keep it gangster, bro. Gotta keep it gangster, bro. When times get hard, haters wanna pull your card. Gotta keep it gangster, bro. You gotta keep it gangster, bro. When you're riding around, sliding through your town, gotta keep it gangster, bro. Gotta keep it gangster, bro.